and that will result in feeding doubt and fear, which is what the man-created reality is based on. To allow one group to do all the thinking is a dangerous reality of existence. The ability of a mind that can see clearly will render the victory. To know this requires an open mind and the ability to think, sending out energy that will return like a boomerang, but in a tangible item or action. The gift that has been ours the whole time is that we have always had the capability to co-create whatever we desire, but it was never intended to be used to consume our minds or to ever place material things above another human. To have the capability to create by using this knowledge is amazing. To understand the science of how all things come together and start existing as free agents is so fascinating to me. You have no idea how it feels to be able to share what I know to be true in my heart, knowing how many spiritual lives it will free from the past and current enslaved reality. I am sure by now you are wondering just how I learned all I have and where my source came from. Chapter 13 The source of our knowledge, our level of intelligence and how we learn affect the entire universe and the planets both in and out of our solar system that are a network that communicates with the higher realm. We must be evolving at all times to infuse knowledge into our minds from our souls, and it must be a continual pattern of thought if we are to evolve in a more harmoniously balanced manner. If we are not enlightened and open-minded in our thinking, we are reality. We have the ability to connect to all dimensions of all realities of the universe. To only use our mind to function under the current standards is to exist for the purpose of a group that has designed a system that appears to be legitimate. This is far from what is real. The knowledge that is waiting to be summoned is closely connected to the higher realm of all realities. In numerology, the number 5 means constant change in this universe. Geometry comes not from man but from the universe and the laws that govern it, and it was created and used way before our planet came to be. We are the brilliant ones, but we are finishing last. What is the higher realm of reality, and how does it connect to us here in this reality? What I now know, I had to figure out on my own, and that is exactly what I have done, with the assistance of the higher realm. The fact is there are numerous truths that have been deliberately kept from us for a very long time. This is so the ones who benefit from our ignorance can dictate, control, and limit our ability to use our minds freely, as they still do, without persecution for exercising the right to go, create and achieve a state of consciousness in the highest realms of existence. What and where is the highest realm? You would never believe where it has been the entire time of our existence. It has always been in our minds. Oh, there are numerous worlds that exist in the cosmos but have not been known due to the created dense reality here on this planet. The truth is that during the course of my current life, from the age of 7 through well into my 40s, I knew there was a missing element in this reality because I felt it within myself. I also felt I did not belong here, that some part of me was longing to return. But return where? These feelings would bring about the beginning of my quest for answers and seeking, though I did not realize it at the time. At the age of 7, I sat alone in my front yard and had the sensation that I had been there before. I wondered how that could be. I also had experiences throughout my life that I did not comprehend as I do now. When I was 16, while sitting at a red light, a sensation of excitement entered into my soul, and I turned to my sister and said, "I am going to do something really important someday." I had no idea what I would be doing. I made many choices as a result of the imprinting of the environment around me and the limited knowledge I had until I discovered the most brilliant knowledge from our universe and the wisdom of Christ. By the time I was in my 30s, I had unknowingly drawn to myself what I mostly thought about, which was security for me and my children. I married a somewhat wealthy man who gave me what I thought the most of, which was a life of security. I eased into this reality, and it was all good. I myself thought this was what I was missing in my life, and now that I had it, I felt sustained and happy but only temporarily. My life of security soon lost its luster and excitement, and I was on a downward spiral into thoughts of regret and failure. One day I remembered that experience from when I was 16, the important thing I was going to do someday. I realized where I was and what I had achieved through my looks and charm. I discovered where I was at that moment and knew it was not at all what I felt when I was 16. I could not believe what I was doing was the big thing. I asked myself, is this it? I realized my then husband Troy's wealth was his achievement and reality, not mine. At that moment, I knew I had still yet to experience what I was to do that would be so important to the world. I did not give it much thought, but I gave it enough energy to bring about a situation that would become the demise of my fake reality. I was caught up in one dinner party after the other, ballets, dinner theater, and just generally enjoying my reality. This all would come to a halt when a dark-spirited woman moved in next door. Within months my illusion of reality would come to a crashing halt through a series of unfortunate events involving this neighbor, which would give me a window of opportunity to reconnect with all those senses of doing something so important. The events that unfolded played a very important role in my own path to enlightenment. Earlier I explained how once a thought or idea is conceived, the invisible realm immediately goes to work to deliver whatever is being thought of at that moment. What happened next was the most difficult experience and would completely shake and rock my world. The family that purchased the house next door would turn out to be my saving grace on my quest for knowledge and understanding into the higher realm. I became pretty close friends with this neighbor, who turned out to be a very dark individual. She had a secret, and by accident I learned of it. I was never a gossiper, and what I learned has, until now, never left my lips. She was cheating on her husband, and my experience tells me that, to her, I was a threat to her dirty little secret, though I never told a soul, not even my then husband. Because she felt threatened by my knowing about her extramarital affair, she began to spread untrue, hurtful rumors about me and my children. I didn't know then what I know now, or I would have been able to stop what escalated into situations with dire consequences. Though I tried my best to ignore this woman and her slanderous character attacks on me and my family, it seemed she was out to do harm. When she realized I was closing myself off to my neighbors and friends within our subdivision, leaving her no way to communicate with me indirectly through them, she did the unthinkable. This neighbor went to the courthouse and filed a false affidavit, alleging I attempted to kill her by trying to run her over with my Ford Expedition. When I was served papers stating an order of protection had been filed against me, I was shocked. 4 months leading up to a year, I was battling for my life and reputation at our district court, and then, finally, the appellate court, trying to plead my innocence. To have the reality of truth is to balance the scales of equality for all. I lost hearing after hearing. It had basically driven me over the edge, and I did the unthinkable. I was under such stress that I enlisted the care of psychiatric counsel as a result of my state of mind due to my psychotic neighbor. I took 1.5 bottles of sleeping pills and antidepressants. I realize how easy it is to judge and think, I would never do that, no matter what. Trust me, I always thought of myself as a strong person, until my mind was being manipulated not only by another human but by a corrupt court system as well. I called my doctor and told her what I had done. She kept me on the line while she called 911. The Lake Sammamish Fire and Rescue arrived at my residence in Issaquah, Washington. I was able to let them into my home, as the pills had not yet penetrated my bloodstream. I remember one of those firefighters scolding me for my actions after seeing my children's Christmas pictures on the fireplace mantel. My last memory of being alive, before exiting this dense reality, was the firefighter saying, "Code." I had flatlined. I have no memory of what happened after that. Today I can reflect on this event, attempting to take my own life, and ask myself, was this all that bad? My answer is no, absolutely not. If it weren't for that psycho neighbor, I would not be able to share with you who I am and the knowledge I gained while I was briefly in the higher realm. From my early experiences, I relearned who I was then and now. And what is extremely important for you to know and learn is that your free will. Remember the freedom that has been within your grasp the entire time, to use your own mind to reach the highest realm of all realities, has been with you and will always be with you. What I experienced in the higher realm would not surface until several years after the incident occurred. I began the path of enlightenment to finding myself, and as time progressed, I found myself. One by one I removed the layers of a reality designed and created by man to prevent us from escaping the reality created by this great travesty of an illusion. I was introduced to who I was and all I had buried deep within my soul. The 3 days of being in a coma, while my vessel was kept alive on life support machines, was when my spirit traveled and my experience of Christ transpired. All I experienced when I ascended to the higher realm was amazing. I realize most tell of bliss, and there is absolute pure love and humor in that higher realm of reality. There is no confusion, only harmony. I discovered who I was then and what my purpose was. I was not feeling that bliss internally. In fact, I was very angry when I ascended. It was not because I had taken my own life or that I missed this reality designed by man. Quite the opposite occurred for me. Instead, I was able to see what is going on right here on Earth in this man-created reality of pure doom. I could see everything clearly and how what we have here in terms of how we live is not real in any way, shape, or form. My ability to see how simple it is not to exist in this type of reality blew my mind. We never question it because we are too busy worrying about surviving and keeping the things we have been taught we must have to achieve the higher level of reality. We are set up to fail by our own ignorance, so we will have to return to repeat what we failed to learn while here on Earth in this reality of free will. Though the free will has yet to be used and defended, to create and connect this reality to the higher realm, we must start to think for ourselves and must no longer be pre-programmed by the same species of humans. We must master this superior knowledge in this consciousness and not wait until we ascend, only to get there and be told the very same thing I am saying right now, that you and I have had the power all along to change the paradigm from doom to peace, hatred to love. You can do this by realizing you don't have to live your life by a price tag and that the resources are abundant within us to make this world a better place. This physical vessel that the spirit resides in has been loaned to us on a temporary basis so we can learn our true purpose through a natural and continual cycle of change. To base our choices on material things is ignorance. No material creation acknowledges you or loves you, yet we place these objects above humans. Having or achieving the finer things in this world should not keep you in a constant feeling of lack but show us how powerful we are and have been since we could think and create. As mentioned earlier, love is energy and is invisible. We demonstrate love through material things. Sadly, without knowing, we transfer our energy of love to the material item and not the soul of the human it was intended for. Instead of loving us back, the material item steals all the energy of love. I have mastered what I was supposed to in this life and in the current state of consciousness. This is the time and place when all things connected to this knowledge matter. To achieve the knowledge in this reality makes us brilliant in the reality of the higher realm. We have beaten the ones who designed and created the environment of the reality to program fear to absorb our energy for the purpose of darkness. I owe an abundance of gratitude to that neighbor who so brilliantly came into my life and turned my reality upside down. If it weren't for her, we might have missed the opportunity to achieve and take back our knowledge that was once ours so long ago and still remains for us. Moving on, the most recent time I was before Christ, he sat in a huge, gray stone chair with two men standing on either side of him. One was tall, and the other was of medium height. I remember Christ and his dark wooden staff leaning on the left side of his chair as I faced him. I shared with Christ, I am not going back there, meaning to this reality. What I saw was the mind's enslavement and the suffering that is all men created. Even though I had 5 children, that was not enough to make me agree to come back. Once I was in the higher realm of the correct reality, I could see clearly what it was like outside of man's designed reality that is very dense, and for me to even want to return to this reality of enslavement that goes unnoticed while one is in it would not change a thing. However, I fulfilled my promise to honor my purpose and learn. It was worth coming back if it was possible to beat this reality game, and I have done just that. At the same time, I was shown how easy it is to shift the reality from what it is now to what it could be, which is to exist in a free state of mind and of being. To achieve freedom from this system is to think and take control by using the power of the free will, but only once everything is understood. The reality of worry, of debt, finance, or any concept that places constraints or burdens on the soul is man-created, and it must be seen and understood that it is not real and never will be. That is what an example of the illusion truly means. The